All right, everyone. Today, we are going to be discussing whether or not on-chain analytics for Bitcoin is still useful. And the reason why is because of two things. Number one, Bitcoin Treasury companies, and number two, Bitcoin ETFs. Let's first talk about Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin ETF trades often happen off-chain within traditional finance systems like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. And it isn't only until later where the net result is actually reflected on-chain. This means that when someone buys Bitcoin through a ETF, they might not be reflected as a short-term holder like they normally would be if they bought through a platform like an exchange or somewhere else. So naturally, if you're looking at short-term holder and long-term holder relationships, the results will be affected. Now, let's move on to Bitcoin Treasury companies and whether or not these will have an impact on the accuracy of on-chain analytics. The way that the majority of these treasury companies acquire their Bitcoin is through OTC desks. And these are essentially private deals that are made that are ultimately reflected on the blockchain. So these should have no impact on the accuracy of on-chain analytics. Bitcoin treasuries are long-term holders of Bitcoin, and it will be reflected as such. So is on-chain analytics still useful? The answer is yes. Currently, only 7% of the Bitcoin supply is held through ETFs, which means that the majority of the data is accurately represented. Using this data to predict future behavior will be just as effective as it was in the past. Let me show you what I mean. Here, I've got a chart of realized profits divided by circulating supply. The spikes in green that you see are where people realize a lot of profits. Here, you can very clearly see that when this happens, meaning people sell their Bitcoin to lock in a lot of profits, this has been followed by either a local peak or the actual bull run cycle peak very shortly afterwards. You see it here in 2017 at around 20K. You also see it here in 2021. Again, later in 2021 at the second peak. The local peak here in 2024 when we hit 73K, and then we were stuck in a range and chopped downwards until we were at 54K. And then we also see it here when we broke 100K for the first time. And then we saw a pretty steep decline to mid 70s before we got to the new all-time highs where we are today. Following on-chain analytics would have helped you identify every local and actual peak of all of the previous bull run cycles. And given that the ETFs still only represent 7% of the total Bitcoin supply, I'm betting that the data will likely tell us when the next bull run peak is starting to come. If you want to stay updated on-chain analytics, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we'll talk soon.